I think one of the misconceptions of working with natural textured hair is that since it's darker, you need to use stronger volume. It's a very bad idea because it really can break too many of the bonds inside the hair, and you need to maintain that strength of the hair. When porosity is lost, there is no shine coming from the hair because the cuticle is very, very open. So you can't get any reflect from a cuticle that is open. The light won't reflect, it's only absorbed. So the hair is always going to look dry. You want to make sure that you get good closure on the cuticle so that you get good reflection. A juicy, gorgeous curl is a curl with moisture, and you can't really fake that. You can kind of tell that her hair is pretty well balanced because it's not drying faster in any particular area. It's kind of drying consistently, and that speaks to the consistency of her porosity. Her hair's in really pretty good shape, which is always nice to know. The beauty of highlighting curly hair is that it lasts a very long time. Tasia hadn't had her color done in more than a year, but because the curly hair shrinks up so much, it's really lower maintenance. If you have a client that loves their color and then they get that addiction where they want to come in all the time and get their color done, sometimes you have to really have a bit of a intervention and tell them that they're going to ruin a good thing. Because not doing your hair super often with color, with textured hair, is really the key to making sure that you keep that color and that hair very healthy looking. The health of the hair, it's all about the porosity. We are stewards of that porosity and the health of the hair. If you're working on someone and it seems like the hair is rejecting the color, or it appears that the hair is not absorbing it, doesn't seem consistent, something seems a little off, they could have a very tight cuticle. And if the cuticle is very tight, it's very hard for that penetration of color, products, water, everything. Dampening the hair and using a moisture-based product will really help with the penetration of the color, because the basic principle of moisture loves moisture. If you have moisture in the hair, it's easier to apply moisture to it. So if you're finding that to be a problem, try wetting the hair and using a moisture-based product lightly so as to not clog up the cuticle, but enough so that it will bring that moisture in on the moisture that's already there. Very helpful. Lightener is of a high alkalinity and helps open up that cuticle. So that is how you are able to get into the hair strand to manipulate the cortex. The outer cuticle opens up and you can go back in there. When you are working with straighter hair, the hair is a little bit more easygoing about opening and closing of the cuticle. Curly hair really does not spring back the same way. So being aware of making sure that you balance the pH of the hair is very important with curly hair. So alkalinity is going to open up that hair and open up that cuticle, and acidity is going to draw it back down. Always look for conditioning treatments that you can find that have a high acidic content. Also, there are apple cider rinses and things like that that you can use that will help close that cuticle. Today, I am going to be using a demi-permanent gloss formula, which is acidic in nature, in order to close up her cuticle properly. So we are using the alkaline right now to open it up and get the brightness, and then we're gonna smooth everything down and work with our tones. So we're gonna see what the hair gives us, and then we are going to work with what the hair gives us, and we are going to manipulate it with tonal shifts in order to make it pleasing on Tasha's skin. One of the important things to remember when you're formulating for textured hair is, yet again, the porosity. Overly porous hair will always grab ash tones and reject warm tones. So if you have super porous hair that you're working for and you try to put color on it or a glaze on it that has a blended base, if there's any cool tones in there, even if they're blended in with warmth, the overly porous hair will become a very irregular color, grabbing on to those ash tones. Very important to keep an eye on that. So if the hair is very porous, err on the side of warmth. Be careful not to use any cooling tones in the hair. The other important thing to consider is that when formulating for curly hair, a temporary color on overly porous hair can become permanent, and a permanent color can become temporary. Overly porous hair is almost like there's all kinds of holes and voids in the cuticle. So the hair is able to absorb the color, but it falls out of the hair just as quickly. The hair is incapable of holding on to moisture without treatments or things that you can do to make sure that that cuticle is sealed back up. You want to kind of clean up the potholes, the little holes in the cuticle, and make sure that it's a nice, smooth strand of hair. So your formulation is really dependent on the porosity. If you have someone that comes in and wants a lot of color work done and has overly porous hair, my suggestion is to not color the hair until you really get command of the porosity of the hair again, making sure that you have the proper canvas. You can't please a client if they have poorly conditioned hair. You will never achieve the results that will have the longevity and beauty that you need.